Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Erin Leonard, and I'm here just to manage the platform, and I have a few housekeeping notes to share. Participants, you may have noticed that you are on mute. Just because you're on mute, though, doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. We have a question box, and we encourage you throughout the webinar to drop your questions or share comments in our Q&A box. We'll address as many questions as we can at the end of the webinar. If you have a technical issue, please raise your hand or chat an issue to me. My name is Erin Leonard, and I'll be in touch to help resolve any technical issues. We are recording this webinar and will share the recording by early next week. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce our moderator, Laura Horn, Director of Programs at Active Minds. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Erin, and thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today, Creating a Healthy Campus, Best Practices and Innovative Strategies from winners of the 2018 Healthy Campus Award, hosted by Active Minds. My name is Laura Horn, and I'm the Director of Programs at Active Minds, and I'm delighted to serve as the moderator for today's webinar. We're going to get started with a few questions for the audience. And the first question is, what job roles do we have represented in the audience today? And there you see the poll on your screen. Please select the one that most aligns with the orientation you're bringing to our conversation today. Okay, so the majority of our participants are either from health services, counseling and mental health services, or something other than those two are student services and disability services, which is great for us to know. The next question, of the following keys to a healthy campus, which of them do you think your institution does best? Does your institution best champion student voices, pursue mental health equity, ensuring that every student has an equal opportunity to health, provide responsive, accessible clinical services, enact systems and policy changes, or measure results? We'll give a minute for folks to respond. Great. So actually more than half of you say that your institution provides responsive, accessible clinical services. And then the next highest would be championing student voices, which is great. Our final question, we're going to look at the same keys for a healthy campus. We're interested in learning of these keys, which one would you say your institution has the most room for improvement? We're just giving it a minute. Okay, 41% of you would like to work more on systems and policy changes. 21% would like to pursue mental health equity. And then 15% of you are working on providing responsive, accessible clinical services and measuring results. So that all is great. Thank you so much for participating. That helps us steer our conversations going forward. And now I will share, before turning it over to our speakers, just a little bit about Active Minds, the Healthy Campus Award, and what we've learned over the last several years regarding each of those keys for success. Next slide, please. Active Minds is a national nonprofit supporting mental health awareness and education for students through award-winning programs and services such as our SynSilence Packing exhibit, Speakers Bureau, and more than 450 student-led chapters at colleges, universities, and high schools around the country. We are empowering a new generation to change the conversation about mental health. Next slide. Institutions of higher education are called upon to prepare students to succeed in a complex and ever-changing world. Health and well-being are essential for student engagement, retention, and success. As such, health is integral to the core business of institutions of higher education. Too often, student health becomes a public conversation only following tragedy, and headlines focus only on where schools are falling short. Furthermore, when success in campus health is celebrated, mental health is often ignored. To address these challenges, Active Minds established the Healthy Campus Award in 2014 to recognize and celebrate colleges and universities that are prioritizing health and making significant progress towards creating a campus that promotes the mental health, physical health, and well-being of its students. Next slide. Active Minds presents the award to honor and elevate colleges and universities that are creating healthy campuses through systemic efforts and powerful partnerships across all levels. The award champions institutions that not only serve students' physical health, but give equal priority, attention, and investment to mental health. It recognizes schools that provide access to quality healthcare and take a comprehensive public health approach to promoting and protecting the health of every student on campus. Next slide. 8 elements are central to the Active Minds Healthy Campus Award, serving as the lens through which all submissions are judged throughout the process. These keys, some of them of which we share with you through the poll, are prioritizing a collective strategic approach that ties Healthy Campus Awards with the mission and values of the university and engages a multidisciplinary network of stakeholders. Defining health broadly and pursuing it comprehensively. We believe that there is no health without mental health, and being a healthy campus means prioritizing mental health alongside physical health. Championing student voices in programming, strategies, messaging, and approaches to engage students and create a healthy campus culture. Cultivating a deep commitment to equal opportunities for health, addressing gaps in opportunity that tend to disproportionately and negatively affect certain populations. Provide quality, responsive, accessible clinical services. Commit to sustainable systems changes and policy-oriented long-term solutions. Securing and making the most of available resources, and finally, taking a data-driven approach, measuring results and sharing progress to continuously motivate, guide, and focus action. Next slide, please. We would like to thank the esteemed reviewers who participate in the selection of the Active Minds Healthy Campus Award winners. The review process included 2 phases of applications, student testimonials, and endorsements from both the university president and the student body president. Next slide. This year's awards include 7 diverse colleges and universities spanning multiple geographic regions, school types, and sizes. We are so pleased to recognize and elevate the excellent work of Arizona State University, Duke University, Jefferson Community College, Kent State University, University of Oregon, University of South Carolina, and University of South Florida. Next slide. 3 of the winners are here with us today to share their efforts. Rebecca Caldwell, Director of Strategic Health Initiatives at the University of South Carolina, Rita Debate, Associate Vice President of Health and Wellness at the University of South Florida, and Karen Moses, Director of Wellness and Health Promotion at Arizona State University. And without further ado, Rebecca, I will offer you the floor.
Thank you so much. At the University of South Carolina, we are just thrilled to be a 2018 Healthy Campus Award winner and extremely honored to be among these other fine campuses. Next slide. I'm going to talk today about several elements of our Healthy Campus approach. University of South Carolina has been committed to what we call our vision of a healthy Carolina community for over 12 years. And we conceptualize that as making Carolina a healthy place to live, work, learn, and play, where the healthy choice is the easy choice. And so sometimes I'll sit with students and they'll say, tell me again what Healthy Carolina is. And I'll say, well, there may be programs you're familiar with, our farmers market, cooking classes, meditation, suicide prevention training, but really Healthy Carolina is about at its core a scaffolding that should on a lot of the time be kind of invisible to you as a student or campus community member, but it really is reflected in what food choice you see when you walk into a dining hall, or how the new buildings are arranged on campus to make it easier to get physical activity. USC should, at its very kind of fundamental core, be designed to help people live healthy, active lives and make this a really a place where the healthy choice is the easy choice. We have a Healthy Carolina Steering Committee, who's a group of students, faculty, and staff who guide together with professional staff our campus efforts. We have a set of Healthy Campus 2020 2020 objectives for both our students and our faculty and staff, and have active work groups. And so I want to talk about a couple of the policy systems and environmental interventions that some of these work groups are being a part of. One exciting work group we have right now is called our Food Systems Strategy Committee. It includes our First Lady, our sustainable organization, our food service vendor, student activists, and our Healthy Carolina professional staff. And we are looking at really kind of the intersection of sustainability, access to healthy food, and kind of healthy food choices and issues of food security for our campus community. We are in the process of starting to implement our healthy and sustainable food policy, which really encourages both kind of sustainable and healthy practices in all of our campus catering, as well as encourages the availability of healthy options and kind of pricing differentials that don't kind of discourage healthy choices in our campus dining. We have wonderful bikeability and walkability partnerships. USC is a urban campus, only about 2 blocks from our state capital, and so our city, our state, and our campus are tied in very closely when it comes to thinking about this environment our campus community lives on. And so students have been able to help us analyze the walkability of our campus as well as the bikeability, and we've been able to make some commitments to both kind of within the upcoming kind of the evolving campus master plan in regards to how walkable and bikeable the campus is, as well as allowing kind of students and campus experts to advise where we're going to have 5 new bike share locations as part of a huge new city initiative. And so we've been able to really kind of build some strong partnerships there that make it easier for people to access the campus in a physically active and sustainable way that works for them. And one of our longest standing work groups is our Mental Health Council. USC has been very committed to the JED campus model for years, and our Mental Health Council includes student activists. We do have a Campus Active Mind chapter as well as an AFSP chapter. Some of those students were featured in AFSP's new documentary, This Is Real, about campus mental health. We do a lot of kind of programming, but the PSC things that we've worked on have included developing and starting to implement a means restriction environmental scan process to really think about the built environment and where our risks are and how we can minimize that, as well as this group was very active in advocating for a new university withdrawal process that included some centralization and standardization to help students that might need to come or go from campus to be able to do so while sustaining their academic record and making it easier for them to get the care they needed, as well as advocating for additional post-vention coordination for when we have incidents on campus to make sure that we are doing an excellent job in both kind of communication and care of the campus community in regards to these efforts. Next slide. A centerpiece of our mental health, our mental well-being activity on campus has been our health communication campaign called Be Real, Be There, Mental Health Matters at U of SC. We were able to start this work several summers ago with a grant from the American College Health Association's First Risk Advisors Award, and at that time we sat with students all across campus and said, what messages do you want from the university and do you want from each other to promote a positive environment around mental health? And as we analyzed those conversations, 3 strong themes came forward. They wanted to be encouraged to and have freedom to be real about what was going on with their own mental health self-care and any illnesses they may be dealing with. They wanted to know how to and be free to be there for each other. And they wanted to hear institutional messages that their mental health mattered, that it was a priority for the institution, and that we were creating more resources and more points of access for them. And so that very quickly gelled into this Be Real, Be There, Mental Health Matters concept that really caught the attention of the campus community in a way that has really been very meaningful. And we've continued it because it has that phrase has really worked for this campus. And so as we add new resources, as we add things like mental health screening in our medical clinics and so forth, we tie it back to this mental health matters message, and it's really helped our students connect to the whole continuum of services that we have to promote and act on issues of mental health. Next slide. The Be Real Be There health communication campaign, it was a large multi-channel campaign. Its centerpieces were videos as well as posters and digital images that featured students talking about either being real or being there. And so on the left side of this slide, you see one of our most popular images. This is a young man. He just graduated last week. He's an extremely well-known leader on campus. He is a very active student veteran, and he was writing about his experience of to the campus community about why accessing mental health really helped him. And so we use both this kind of video centerpiece as well as these images to present to the campus ways in which we were saying that people were prioritizing their mental health. And we added that together with things like lesson plans for our University 101 classes, discussion guides for student organizations. We did a faculty mailing saying you may have seen this. Also, here's some things you might look for amongst your students. And don't forget your mental health matters too, and these are your resources, as well as using student campaign ambassadors who we outfitted with some materials from the campaign and a little bit of training on how to talk to it. And they might, for instance, make an announcement in the class about, do you know about the Mental Health Matters campaign? I've got some material. Let me remind you about the campus resources. The campaign's been so popular that our next steps going forward are, we just finished a campaign exclusively focused on graduating seniors, kind of sending messages to their peers and faculty member, highlighting the importance of mental health self-care. We have a podcast about resiliency that will be launching in the fall with some funding support from the American College Health Association, and we'll have all new campaign content in the fall, including our campus's president being featured within the series. And so this has been really a strong messaging component for us. Next slide. When we thought about what makes a healthy campus community for USC, like many of you, we know that a healthy campus is one in which everybody's success and everybody's well-being mattered. And so we made sure to point out in our application that institutionalized resources and support for students, for all types of students, are in our mind as part of our healthy campus vision. And so our multicultural student affairs, our Gamecock Recovery Program, our resources for student veterans, for LGBT students, for international students are all part of our healthy campus broadly. Our healthy campus partners, our professional staff as well as our partners across campus, have had a number of specific initiatives to make sure to connect the healthy campus vision to the well-being of every student. The photo in this slide is from a program that our counseling center did called Cuts and Conversations. They were able to bring a few well-known barbers to our campus barber shop, as well as bring some mental health clinicians to an event in which people were able to get a strongly discounted haircut and have some talks about kind of mental health self-care within the barber shop. Similarly, we brought a poet to campus to teach students how to kind of write and perform poetry around kind of multicultural identities and kind of identity intersections. That was really powerful and well received. We've brought several of our groups that we used to hold inside of our counseling spaces into student spaces. And so we have a group called Black Space that we hold in a multicultural student lounge that is very, very popular and kind of creates access to care. We have a brand new Center for Health and Wellbeing here. Health Counseling and Wellness are part of one combined patient-centered medical home model. And so as we've moved and opened a brand new building, we've held open houses specific for the LGBTQ community, particularly the transgender community, in order to come in, meet providers, sit with someone at a kiosk, and utilize the changes you're able to make in our medical record for kind of to put in your right name and your preferred kind of pronouns and so forth. And so we tried to intentionally open the space to make sure everyone knows it's for them, as well as our health literacy task force has this kind of a special focus on international students, first-generation students, and making sure all students are more health literate here and beyond their time at USC. Last slide, please. Again, we'll just wrap up by saying that we are really thrilled to be an award winner. These are just three kind of small parts. We really believe that the Healthy Carolina vision and our Healthy Carolina community, the health of our students is central to their success and well-being here and beyond. And so thanks so much for letting us speak today.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next, we have Rita DeBate, Associate Vice President of Health and Wellness at the University of South Florida. Rita, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for participating in this webinar. We're honored to have been selected and are excited to share a few of our initiatives with you. The mission of the University of South Florida is to deliver competitive undergraduate, graduate, and professional programs to generate knowledge, foster intellectual development, and ensure student success in a global environment. Inherently, our strategic plan comprises goals focused on student retention, persistence, graduation rates, and global citizenship. Next slide, please. Engaging a multidisciplinary group of stakeholders, including the President, Provost, Vice President for Student Affairs, Vice President for Student Success, Student Government, Faculty Senate, Healthy Campus 2020, and community collaborators, we triangulated evidence-based practices with USF-specific qualitative and quantitative data to develop a logic model for student success. As depicted in the outcomes column, student success is contingent upon both GPA and student adaptation to college. More specifically, as seen in the yellow, a student's coping mechanisms and social support mediate academic, social, personal, emotional, and institutional adjustment. As a result, it was resolved that student success is contingent upon student health, well-being, and quality of life. The provost then implemented an innovative realignment of units to facilitate a purposeful programming aimed at a holistic approach to student success. As depicted by the large green box on the left, the divisions of Student Affairs and Student Success, Undergraduate Studies, and the Center for Transdisciplinary Research in College Health and Wellbeing were merged into one multidisciplinary unit, the Division of Student Affairs and Student Success. Next slide, please. We then took an evidence-informed systems thinking approach to translate the logic model into transdisciplinary, strategic, integrated curriculum to ensure that academic, social, personal, emotional, and institutional well-being were addressed in each stage of the student life course, with specific emphasis for each. For example, during the orientation process, adjusting to the institution is a priority. However, during the move-in week, social adjustment and personal emotional adjustment become a priority. This was followed by grouping the curriculum into specific action plans based on major student life course events. For example, Bulls Timeout takes place in between the fall and spring semester. During this stage, the student is back home for the first long period of time and may start questioning their self-efficacy to succeed in college, maybe on probation, may start to question their selected major, among other things. So we developed a communication plan for students and parents that cover these areas with action items and resources. Last but not least, the transdisciplinary nature of this work allowed blending of discipline-specific theories and best practices into a new blended paradigm, what we call Be Well, Excel. This emphasized and reflected the holistic approach to our student success initiative. Next slide, please. I'm now going to share with you one of our personal and emotional well-being initiatives called MWell for Success. As you know, stressors related to college life may precipitate an underlying mental health condition, lead to poor coping and self-destructive patterns, and negatively affect decisions and behaviors, thereby reducing the student's sense of connectedness to the university and impacting their academic performance. Moreover, USF students' self-reported impediments to academic success were revealed to be stress, anxiety, sleep difficulties, depression, finances, homesickness, internet use, computer games, relationship difficulties, roommate difficulties, and work. In developing this initiative, we took a systems thinking public health approach, and that the counseling center should not be the sole responsibility for addressing the mental health needs of our student body. With a systems thinking perspective, each separate USF mental health resource is necessary but inefficient in itself. As such, improving the mental well-being among the USF student body requires collaboration across microsystems, which include parents, peers, and university faculty and staff, Mesosystems, including residential education, student success, undergraduate studies, graduate studies, student government, and various colleges and departments, and macrosystems, including the counseling centers, student health, student outreach and support, victim advocacy, student center for student well-being, campus rec, office of student engagement, facilities, and university police. Moreover, to meet the continuum of mental health needs, a public health approach made certain that primordial, primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention programs be in place to ensure early identification, referral to care, and treatment. Next slide, please. This slide depicts the various programming within our public health framework. The first tier is universal programming aimed at primordial and primary prevention. In this tier, we made changes in our built environment to support a culture of mental well-being. In addition, we created policy that requires all incoming faculty, staff, and students receive mental health literacy training. In an effort to address stigma of mental health, we created social marketing programs to promote TAL self-help modules for healthy relationships, anxiety, stress, and others. We created a success and wellness coaching program and additional outreach, including Let's Talk sessions and group counseling. Health and wellness coaching is fairly new within higher education, specifically as a way to assist in increasing numbers seen at university counseling centers. Current research found that students who participated in coaching were more likely to persist and graduate. During our pilot, 485 students participated in success and wellness coaching. 93% were looking to improve occupational and academic skills and goals, 84% to improve mental well-being, 70% to improve physical well-being, 66% to improve purposeful well-being, and 43% to improve social well-being. Tier 2 programming focused on early identification and increasing availability and access to care. In this tier, we implemented mental health first aid training to all first responders, including faculty, advisors, leaders in study abroad programs, international student staff, student leaders, and more. In addition, we created 3 satellite wellness centers that offer counseling, coaching, screening, health education, in addition to relaxation stations. Lastly, the Tier 3 programming focuses on tertiary care through wellness care managers ensuring wraparound care for our students. I now want to show you a quick video that gives you a snapshot look into some of these initiatives. Please cue video.
Hi, my name is Munir Karadine, Student Body President here at the University of South Florida, Tampa campus. Thanks for allowing me to show you some of the ways that we improve the overall well-being of our students through our Healthy on-campus initiatives. More than half of our students tell us that stress, anxiety, and depression are roadblocks to success. So, we've created programs and education to respond to this. A favorite event of ours is Pause and Relax, Final Stress Buster, when hundreds of students usually show up to hang out with lapdogs, llamas, and get time management information, sleep packs, and study tips. Other ways we help reduce stress is by offering meditation groups and plenty of places to relax and recharge. We have a serenity room, a beach, a riverfront park, 2 relaxation locations with massage chairs, sleep pods, and bean bags. Because we have more energy and are more successful when our minds and bodies are in sync. Here's our outdoor pool, where we offer paddleboard yoga because, as you know, water, sunshine, and exercise are great for us. We're proud of the way USF champions well-being. We work to help students to eat well so we can excel. Our weekly Greens and Go Fresh Market provides open access to fresh produce and healthy foods for all of our student body. Since some of us experience food insecurity, we created a student food pantry to provide food, nutrition advice, and recipes for our students. We support the pantry through food drives, donations, and a funding campaign that raised over 275% of its goal. We're innovative because we capitalize on our existing resources. We extended hours in the counseling center, student health services, and created a success and wellness coaching program so students can have more access to one-on-one counseling. We also created programs to keep each other safe through peer-led bystander intervention trainings and programs to identify warning signs in relationships. We've run out of time, but you can learn more about our commitment to health and well-being at our website. So what's the bottom line here at USF? we care about each other. And we show it by being interdisciplinary, innovative, and holistic in our ways that we ensure that our students can thrive and succeed. So as always, go Bulls!
Thank you so much for your time, and go Bulls!
Thank you, Rita. And finally, we have Karen Moses, Director of Wellness and Health Promotion at Arizona State University. Karen, please take it away.
Thank you. At ASU, we are thrilled to be selected as one of the Active Minds Healthy Campus awardees. I'm glad to have this opportunity to share some of the highlights of our work to enhance student well-being at ASU. You may already know that ASU is a large university primarily set on 4 campuses in the metropolitan Phoenix area, though we also have campuses in Lake Havasu, Arizona, and the John McCain Institute in Washington, D.C., and educational opportunities at other locations throughout the states and around the world. We have 72,000 enrolled students who attend class at one of our 4 Phoenix metropolitan locations, and another 30,000 who take classes in an online-only environment. Regarding those who attend class on campus, we accept approximately 15,000 new students each year, and have over 10,000 students living on campus with an expectation of having more than 20,000 students living on campus in a few more years. We have another 30,000 to 40,000 students who live near one of the 4 Phoenix area campuses in apartment communities. One of the things that is a point of pride for me at ASU is that we strive to match the demographic mix within Arizona, and currently have achieved a student population that is 50% white, down from about 85% white just 15 years ago, 20% Latinx, and another 30% of other race and ethnicity groups. 14% of our students are international students, so we influence students from around the world, and 63% of our students, though, are Arizona residents, and most of our graduates stay in Arizona. So all of that creates a framework for how we do our work and think about our work at ASU. In everything we do to address student health and well-being, as you can tell from those numbers, we need to consider scale. We need to rely on many departments to work towards common goals of student well-being, rather than a few departments or a few that have that responsibility. And we all need to recognize that student well-being contributes to student success. And in order to bring that level of focus where wellness is everyone's responsibility, it's important to have a guide and a leadership from the top. And we have that guide in the form of our president, of course, but also in the form of the charter that I am presenting to you here. I included this charter because this is an indicator of the university's commitment to wellness. Our charter was only adopted just in a few years ago in 2014. And as you can see in that last line, it asserts that we have a responsibility for the overall health of the communities we serve. These communities include our external communities in Arizona and wherever our students are, and also the internal communities that make up and surround ASU. So it includes our faculty, our staff, our students. Wellness is a value that ASU aspires to have students, faculty, and staff embrace, as we know that well-being supports academic, personal, and professional success now and in the future of each life that we influence. Next slide, please. Live Well at ASU is our wellness mantra. Live Well at ASU empowers the Sun Devil community to achieve a healthy lifestyle through 4 foundational elements, and you can see their symbols up in the right-hand corner there. These symbols are for live, that's the running person in green. Feel, the heart in blue. Learn is the brain in gray matter. And engage is the Sun Devil fork. Each element here helps students to build their best selves by contributing to their physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being. The information, resources, and involvement opportunities found in each of these elements at ASU are designed to positively impact academic performance, personal well-being, and assist students in reaching their full potential. The Live Well Network is the organization that provides the backbone for reaching our goals that we set towards student well-being. This group includes ASU Health, Counseling, Wellness, and Sun Devil Fitness, and the Sexual Violence Prevention Program. As a group, we recognize that all departments have a significant stake in student well-being. Thus, partnerships for wellness involve organizations such as Residential Life, Greek Life, Student Cultural Engagement, and many other units across ASU. The Student Services vision for wellness is an ASU community that embraces physical, emotional, spiritual, and social well-being of self and others as fundamental to the Sun Devil experience. We use the National College Health Assessment, other surveys, focus groups, and ASU data to determine what it is we ought to address. We seek student involvement with program planning and delivery to target our efforts appropriately for the student within the various populations of students whom we serve. I wanted to give you a few examples of the programs and activities that we have to promote student well-being. One is our social media campaign, which is Build Your Best You. It emphasizes a growth mindset, peak performance, personal responsibility, and community well-being. Another is creating opportunities for students to self-assess their personal behaviors related to responsible decision-making, physical and mental well-being, healthy relationships, and performance enhancement. And these assessments are available on the Live Well at ASU website. We have a holistic student-employee wellness program that emphasizes stress management, healthy eating, physical activity, and sleep that we just started in the spring and are very excited. We had nearly 100 student employees who self-selected to sign up for the program, and we're going full force in the fall, inviting all of our student employees to participate. We have enhanced access to fitness classes, intramural sports, recreational activities, sports clubs, and mindfulness opportunities. We have enhanced programming around nutrition, stress, sleep, emotional well-being, and physical well-being. We've expanded our sexual violence education and our bystander education. We take a focus on interfaith student resources, support, and efforts. To further support student well-being, we engage in local community partnerships to support student safety, security, and well-being, and to reach out into the high schools that are feeder schools for ASU with health and wellness programming. And then, of course, are engaged in many other efforts and initiatives that are aimed to help students succeed, again, academically, personally, and professionally. And you'll hear that theme over and over again in our language around student well-being. Next slide, please. Students take on many different leadership roles to support student well-being at ASU. I'm going to highlight 4 of these unique student leadership opportunities. The first is the Well Devil Ambassadors. These are trained peer educators who help to create a community of care and instill the wellness value through education and activities, primarily in the residence halls. For the past several years, the Well Devil Ambassadors have been live-in ambassadors in our residential colleges and have been part and parcel of the group of people who support students within the housing community. Recovery Rising is a student-led collegiate recovery program that provides opportunities for support and connection to ASU students in recovery from addiction, to alcohol, other drugs, and other addictions as well. Recovery Rising fosters a social network and activities, provides campus recovery meetings, and offers trainings to reduce stigma and enhance support for students in recovery. Devils for Devils builds helping skills among ASU students so that they're better able to support each other through good times and bad. And I wanted to share with you a statement from our president of our Active Minds chapter after Active Minds participated in the Devils for Devils training. She says that now they see themselves on the front line of the movement for student well-being. They actively help other students. They notice when students are down, missing from class, crying, hurt, and they take immediate action. They see themselves as the ones who have the responsibility to reach out to those people, ask if they would like help or to talk, directly assist a student who has a current need. They used to wait for people to come to them, and now they reach out when they see someone in need. Janice, the president, says, "Now I feel like I have the confidence to talk with someone in need, even when people come to the table, how to talk with them. Fear has been replaced with confidence." And this is due to our Devils for Devils program that Active Minds has flourished in the past several semesters, well, past couple of semesters. I want to also highlight ASU student government. This past year, ASU student government placed wellness as one of their top goals within their strategic plan, with goal 1 stating, promote student wellness as a predictor of success. Their objective is to promote equitable services to further students' well-being and success. And some of the key activities that they are focused on in their strategic plan include: ensure cost is not a deterrent in the access of services that promote student health and well-being. Support the continued development of the Devils for Devils program. Yes, student government sees the value of that program. It's great. Support and work toward the implementation of low-cost sexually transmitted infection testing. Use internal and external marketing to promote ASU health services and counseling services, and work with the ASU Chief Wellbeing Officer and other departments to develop strategies to demonstrate the university's commitment to holistic wellness. I am so proud of our student government for taking this level of interest and ownership for student well-being. Next slide, please. Student government was instrumental in the decision for ASU to establish the position of a Chief Wellbeing Officer, which is held by a wonderful leader, Dr. Terry Pipe. Her role is to create an environment that supports mental and physical health for students, faculty, and staff. She provides focus on well-being that extends to the enhancement of the total person. At ASU, we expect our students to be leaders at every stage of their lives. We know that well-being and resilience are key competencies to being better students, better employees, better community leaders, and better people. We foster wellness as a value and expect students to aspire to their optimal well-being. We know our students have potential to influence health outcomes in their families, among their future employees, and in their communities as they move beyond ASU and into their future lives. Next slide, please. At ASU, we value discovery and innovation in our academic and support programs. These values provide a frame for initiatives to improve well-being led by students and supported by the university and its systems. These values have resulted in innovations such as repositioning healthy options within the dining halls, with the result that more healthy foods are selected. The Devils for Devils program that I already spoke of, that trains students to be a friend to others in good times and in bad times in order to build a compassionate community of students. Group wellness classes that include not just Pilates and Zumba, but arts and crafts classes as well, and all are free to ASU students. These values have opened the door to the Center for Mindfulness, Compassion, and Resilience, which was established this year as a pathway for convening students, faculty, staff, and community members to learn about mindfulness and mindfulness initiatives at ASU. The center is run by our Chief Wellbeing Officer and her team, and at the center, or through the center, we aspire to create a culture of caring by advancing mindfulness and compassion at ASU and within the community as a way to nurture purpose, focus, resilience, and connection. Already, the center is integrating mindfulness education and practice throughout ASU, culminating this year with the first annual conference, Mindfulness Summit and Interactive Dialogue. Across ASU's 4 campuses in the Phoenix area and many other locations, we are committed to student well-being and using the best science and practice across the continuum of needs to support holistic well-being, from promoting health and wellness to preventing risk behavior, to identifying health and mental health needs of the community and of the individuals we serve, to supporting those with various diagnosed conditions to achieve their optimal well-being. We live well at ASU because Sun Devils are well devils. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Karen. We have about 15 minutes left, and we'd like to take a few questions. So as a reminder to our audience, if you have any questions, please use the chat box on your screen, and I will go there now to respond to the questions we have so far. And the first one is, Rita, for you. The listener notes that you mentioned creating a culture of care on your campus, and they're wondering if there are any specific keys to success in creating a culture of care that you would recommend above the others and are replicable in other campuses.
With regard to the culture of care, it doesn't happen overnight. And really it begins with the staff and faculty understanding the interconnectedness of well-being and student success and all of the aspects of well-being, not just physical health. And again, working on this for years in my position, the culture came slowly, but now I think it's snowballing and it's attached itself. And like I said, we now have adopted the tagline of Be Well, Excel, and everyone feels like they have ownership in that they're a part of that they understand that the word well-being, they do work on well-being, even if they are in academic advocacy, they do support a student's well-being. So those are some things. Also addressing the built environment was really big because again, we wanted, when I first came into this position, I said, okay, if you were a visitor, a parent who came to USF and was visiting our campus, what would you want to see that showed, yes, USF values the health and well-being of my child? And so that's where we looked at the built environment and again, connecting the services and increasing the communication across systems. I hope that answers your question.
Great, thank you, Rita. Next question, I believe any of you could probably add to. It says, what role does the university president play in the initiatives on these campuses? And Rebecca or Karen, do either of you want to take the first shot at this one?
Hey, this is Rebecca. One thing that we are really lucky to have here at U of SC is sorry, I had that in speaker as well, is that our university president was the dean of our School of Public Health, and so he and his partner, our First Lady, we're both public health practitioners, and so they have a great love for the vision of a healthy Carolina community. The First Lady sits on our steering committee, is very active in our food systems work, has been the person who did our first open cooking demo in our brand new kitchen, and so she cooks and gives out produce at our farmers market weekly, and so that is an asset that we have that we do not take for granted. And so it's also, been very easy to then speak to them and say, you know what, we're about to do this survey. We need students to pay attention to it. Can we please have this email come from the president? When the campus faculty staff recognize the First Lady as our ally, and so we'll often have her email kind of lead surveys or new messaging to them as well. And so we are very lucky. They're very kind of aware of it. And for instance, when we recently had a visit from JED Campus, they were, very willing to have the president be part of that, and he spoke with their leader, and is going to be featured in the next iteration of messages from Mental Health Matters. And so we've been very lucky on this route.
Excellent. Karen, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Sure. Our president supports us in ways that are very different from what was just described. We're supported in the type of wording that's used. I know that our president, we send our data up to him, and he talks about our data on student health and well-being, and charges us with addressing these issues, and understands and supports the reality that well-being influences academic, personal, and professional success. And so that's the type of support that we have, is that we know that the president understands and is behind and in front of the initiatives that we put forth.
Great. The webinar participants are noting that they've gotten so many great ideas so far, and one listener has asked, how are resources being prioritized across popular events/trends, such as animal visits, mindfulness spaces, and health behavior modifications, such as sleep, exercise, and nutrition? How are the resources being prioritized across those different events, trends, and health behavior modification strategies?
If I could speak, this is Karen from ASU, and we really look at a combination of things. We look at what does our data tell us we should be doing, so that it isn't always a trend that we're looking to follow, but rather, what does our data say, and what activities would then contribute to student well-being in the areas that we need to focus on. So I think that data is one big issue in regard to prioritizing. And then we also really are in partnership with the students all the time. And so if the students have an interest or an idea, like if they want to bring in the puppies, then we'll find a way to support that endeavor. And we do have, fortunately, at ASU, where puppies are concerned, several organizations that are willing to come at no charge to ASU to facilitate a puppy experience or a dog experience for our students. And many partners in the community are willing to step up and provide students with those kinds of experiences. So I know that that's not a comprehensive answer, but that is certainly part of how we determine what to do. I'll add one more idea or thought, and that is that the wider we spread the responsibility for student well-being, the less it is a burden to one particular staff or one particular budget. And we can plan then with all of the different teams that are contributing to student well-being, and with those plans together can affect can create those priorities and handle the many competing priorities that can contribute to student well-being because of shared responsibility and shared budgetary resources.
Right. Rebecca and Rita, anything you would add to that?
Yes, this is Rita. I want to echo that last statement, and that's what we have done is because we have really become transdisciplinary in our working, although I'm in charge of health and wellness unit, my unit isn't the sole one who prioritizes these things. So for example, with residential education, when they move in, they'll get a pill case that says bulldozing, and inside will be like sleep packs and things like that. So we share in our budgets to promote these things at strategic times throughout the student life course. And that really helps to promote, that message of, we are supporting your wellness, so we want you to be successful, but also sharing in the budget. So it's been very helpful at our university.
Great. Rebecca, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I think our experience is very similar to what the ladies are talking about. As a patient-centered medical home with that kind of combined model, our practitioners, our medical and mental health professionals do a lot of really sending students to the key services and often advocating for new services. So we've just done a bunch of things to expand our kind of balanced eating kind of education and coaching for students, and the mental and mental health practitioners came back to us and said, "This is great. We love having this referral in the system. We want something similar about sleep." And so that's the only thing I would add to our experience is very similar to these other great campuses.
Excellent. Rita, this question is for you. You mentioned that all of your academic faculty advisors are trained in mental health first aid training. Could you speak to when this training was offered? Was it offered over the summer? And how did you develop buy-in from the advisors to take the training?
Well, first of all, I think buy-in really came from this whole, again, developing this culture of care at USF and really promoting the MWell for success. The university at large understands that mental well-being is not only a need on our campus, but something that's important to address. So when did we do the trainings? So as part of our MWell for Success initiative, we hired we're going to hire two, but we hired one mental health outreach clinician. 50% of her time is spent doing clinical practice. The other 50% of her time is doing outreach like the Let's Talk sessions and doing the mental health first aid trainings. So this summer was right now, actually we're in the process of doing it right now. We sent out an invitation to advisors, study abroad, faculty, international staff, and student leaders, and invited them to participate in the mental health first aid training this summer, so we can get a majority of our advisors more specifically trained before the semester started. And I thought I'd have to send a second invitation, but I didn't, because after the first day, I got 125 responses that people wanted to participate. So we only anticipated doing 2 trainings this summer, and now we're up to 6.
Wow, that's great. We are unfortunately, did someone want to add something? Okay, well, we are unfortunately out of time. There are more lessons learned from each of the 7 award winners at www.activeminds.org/award. And in July, Active Minds will release a key findings report that'll be more in depth, and all participants will receive a copy. So I would like to thank Rebecca, Rita, and Karen for their presentations today. Again, this webinar was recorded, and Active Minds will send all materials, including the recording, to participants early next week. Thank you for your time and participation. This concludes today's webinar, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.